Hey, what is up, everybody? So, my name is Albert, and in this channel, I am documenting my journey on my attempt to make several $1,000s each month selling Tesla puts. Today is October 29th, and in this video, I'll be going over a couple of things. Number one, I'm going to go over how much money I've made so far selling Tesla puts. Two, I'm going to go over my investment thesis and why I'm all in on Tesla. And three, I'm going to cover some common Tesla FUD I see a lot that has a pretty easy arguments against it. And then four, for some people that are new, I'll define what selling a put actually means. And then five, I'll give a quick update on the puts that I have sold this week and the ones that are expiring this week as well. And then six, I'm gonna go over my plans on increasing my income in November and beyond. And then number seven is I sold some puts, well, I sold some covered calls earlier in the month, and I had some videos on that, so I'll give you an update on that's going. Yeah, and it's not going well there. Okay, so first things first, I started selling puts in July of this year. I had a goal to make 2K a month in residual income, and I started selling puts as a opportunity to do that, right? So here you can see this column on the left here is it represents the amount of puts I actually sold by the date in which I sold them. The column in the middle represents the actual amount of profit I made by the date it expired. And because it takes a month to expire sometimes, then there's a lag between these two numbers. The column on the right is the amount of puts I've sold but have not yet expired. So the month of July, I made about $2,000. And then the month of August, I made about $4,400. And then in September, since a lot of puts started expiring, I made about $12,000. In October, I made about $15,000. And in November, I plan on making about $20,000. And you can see here, I already have about $17,000 in puts already sold that are expiring this month. And most of these are actually really deep in the money. So that means there's a pretty high chance of deep out of the money, which means there's a pretty high chance of me making this money here. So, yeah, so all in all, if I don't do anything else between now and December, I'll probably make around 53K. But I'm pretty sure December and November are going to be a lot bigger than what you see here. So the main reason behind my investment thesis and why I'm doing this is that I don't believe most people or most analysts even really understand how far ahead Tesla is ahead of everybody else. Okay, and you can see now, especially with the most recent weeks, more analysts are starting to increase evaluations about Tesla. You can see them going up to like $1,200, $1,500. And I believe this is going to continue. So I think each quarter Tesla is going to shatter expectations, and then after earnings, analysts will then up their price targets, right? And I feel like people aren't really wrapping their heads around what Tesla is actually doing. And I'll give you my brief overview behind my thinking. So basically, number one, like, Tesla doesn't really have any competition. Everyone keeps talking about how competition is coming and it's gonna destroy Tesla, but the truth of the matter is Tesla is like light years ahead of everybody else. You have to understand that making a ICE vehicle or internal combustion engine vehicle is very different from making an EV. So all the expertise these legacy auto companies have in making ICE vehicles doesn't matter, right? And instead, what they have is they have a ton of overhead cost. They have all these old factories and all these workers that they're not going to be able to use in a short period of time. Very, very soon from now, they're not going to be able to use them anymore, right? And it doesn't take as many employees to make an EV as it does an ICE vehicle. So I think in this industry, in this sector, you'll probably see a lot of job losses soon as they transition. So just because like GM or Ford can produce millions of cars today doesn't mean this will translate them into producing, millions of EVs. On top of that, it doesn't translate them into making EVs profitably. But then, as they obviously get better at making EVs, Tesla will continue to improve, and this gap will actually widen. So once again, there really isn't any competition. And the main reason for this is because Tesla has a huge advantage on engineering and manufacturing. They are literally years ahead. So just some examples. I'm not going into detail on this, but for example, Tesla writes their own software, right? Tesla designs their own chips. Tesla designs their own batteries. Tesla's able to do crazy things, like they have this gigapress where they literally can cast the entire chassis or the entire front or the entire back of a car in like in like seconds, right? And they literally invented like a new alloy to do this. So instead of having hundreds of robots on assembly line where they're welding parts together, they can just boom cast it, and that's gonna reduce costs. It's gonna reduce errors. It's gonna reduce labor, and also it's a stronger car, right? You can't imagine any legacy company even being able to invest in this, right? In addition, they have great foresight. They've invested tons of resources into huge factories. Meanwhile, these legacy car companies have like these old factories that can't build EVs, right? So another thing is like Tesla's really good at they're sourcing materials, right? So they're looking years in advance on what kind of materials they need. They're sourcing them years in advance. Whereas I don't even think like during the chip shortage, like you can see a lot of companies had a chip shortage, whereas Tesla's kind of thinking ahead. So it's not just chips, but it's all different types of elements. Okay, so another point here is that they have unlimited demand, right? So Tesla spends $0 on marketing, and they sell every single car they produce. Okay, there's like a 10-month wait time on their cars right now. So literally, they have unlimited demand. Like the race is really between them and how fast they can build. So I'm sure you saw the news that came out recently where Hertz is going to order 100,000 cars, and they're going to pay list price for it. I don't even think that's that great for Tesla because, I mean, it's good news, but like Tesla's already got so much demand. They don't need another order 100,000 cars. Obviously, it helps in other ways, kind of, puts the news or whatever, but I don't think that news really affects their bottom line too much. Once again, they literally sell every car they produce, right? On top of that, they're developing full self-driving, and they're leading in that, and they can make over-the-air updates, and they're releasing the beta to some of their drivers, and then they're taking in this information and then feeding their algorithm to make it perform better. And then as it gets better, they can release it out to more and more people, and then it'll be more and more data. Take that information, put it into the algorithm, and then improve their AI. So it's just like a exponential growth, right? I don't think people understand how fast it's going to improve. People are thinking this is going to be 5-6 years out, or 10 years out. It's going to be a lot faster. Okay, so once they have full self-driving, this is going to add a huge multiple onto their valuation because it's a it's a recurring revenue, right? So once again, other car companies do not have this. Okay, and because they have this data, right? They literally they're leading in being able to track miles driven, right? They have all this data. They can use that data to provide insurance to their customers. They're gonna be able to price their insurance at so much cheaper than legacy insurance companies that there's a whole nother market for them to make money. And then energy. I mean, it's literally too much to go into, but they have this energy storage business, and it's gonna be millions and billions. It's gonna be it's billions of dollars in revenue. It already is, but it's gonna be, I don't even know how much. It's gonna be hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars in revenue. Maybe not trillions, but hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue at some point. So yeah, I mean, and this is just me kind of scratching the surface. I'm not really going very deep in any of this. So there's a lot of FUD out there. And I hear this all the time, and some of it's like super dumb. So I just made a list of some of them that I just thought I would just address real quick. So Tesla is valued more than every other car company in the world. That's what people say. How can Tesla be valued more than every other car company in the world? Yeah, because of all the fucking shit I just said, right? No other car company is doing that. Another argument I hear all the time, I don't hear it anymore because it's obviously not true, is like Tesla's only profitable because they're getting regulatory credits. Okay, that's not true. Tesla's at a 28% gross margin without regulatory credits, okay? I think the industry average is like 10, 12, 13, 14%. All right. So, and this margin will continue to grow as they continue to drive the price down. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, regulatory credits is basically like the government, very, very short version how I understand it. The government is requiring car companies to have to produce a certain number of EV vehicles out of the fleet that they produce, right? A lot of companies couldn't transition fast enough, so they have to pay a tax. So instead of paying a tax, they pay Tesla to allow them to use their quote unquote fleet, because Tesla's not creating any sort of ICE vehicles. So so what this means is that they're giving Tesla millions of dollars every quarter for nothing, right? And then Tesla's just investing this money into building these gigafactories, which is going to end up crushing them. So yeah, Tesla doesn't need these regulatory credits. It just helps them grow faster. Another argument I hear all the time is like, hey, Tesla's losing market share. Yeah, if you sell 100% of something, and someone starts selling, some of it, your market share will go down. It's just math, right? Tesla is producing 50% more cars year over year. That's the only number you need to know. It doesn't really matter what their market share is if the whole entire market is growing exponentially. And then another thing is there's a lot of competition in full self-driving. I kind of covered this. AI is all about data. The more data you have, the more you'll win. And there's no catching up because the more data you have, the more data you generate, right? And Tesla has the most miles driven, the most recorded miles driven, right? So they have the most data, and they can just unleash it to all their cars if they needed to get more data. So they're not going to lose that. They're not going to lose their lead in that. Okay. All right. So what am I doing to take advantage of this? Well, number one, what I've done is I've basically took everything I own and I bought Tesla stock with it. Number two, what I'm doing to be a little bit more aggressive is I am selling Tesla puts as much as possible, and I'm selling out of the money puts because I want to be a safe person. So that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm making money. And just to recap, what selling a put is, it is basically I am promising someone that I will buy 100 shares of Tesla at a certain price before a certain date. For doing this, I receive a premium. The buyer will be able to decide whether or not he's going to make me buy these shares. And he's really only going to make me buy these shares from him if the price that we agreed upon is lower than the current stock price, right? Because then he can go and sell it and make that difference, right? So if the price keeps going up or stays the same, or it stays above the stock price, then he's going to be like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to make you buy it. Just keep the premium. So what I'm doing is I'm making a premium, okay? So for example, there are a lot of numbers here, but I'll give you an example. So look at this one right here. Today is October 29th, and I sold a put today for November 5th. Let's do this one right here. So I sold a put today, and I already made money on it. But essentially, I agreed to buy 100 shares of Tesla at $960 each, and for that promise, I am going to receive $1,000. Okay, and right now, if I were to close that put out, then I would have to pay someone $750. Basically, I'm on the other side of the trade. So at some point, when we get to November 5th, this $750 will become zero or close to zero because $960 will be so far away from the current price point where there's no money to be made. So they're not going to pay any money for it. So then I can just buy it back at $0 or $1 or $2 here. Okay. So here's what happened this week. I had 3 puts expiring. I sold one put back in the day, and it expired today, worthless. It was a 705 put, right? So basically, I promised someone I would buy Tesla at 705, and I got $3,700 for it. And then I did 2 last week, which were weeklies, and I basically made $1,000 each on that. So I made about 1,000 times 2, $5,700 or so by selling these puts because they expired worthless. They expired. I bought this back for $3. I bought this back for $5. When I took the screenshot, it was $10, but I bought it back for like $2 or something like that. So, yeah, basically as the time goes on, as you get closer and closer to expiration, this dollar amount just drops more and more. So that's why I like being on the other side where I'm selling the puts rather than buying the puts or buying the calls, because time works in your favor. So you can see here this week I've sold 4 new puts, the ones in red. I've sold one that is farther out. So this is my strategy. I sold one that's 5 weeks out for December 3rd. And I sold it kind of midweek, so I'm already making some money on this. I made about $600 so far, but I made $3,000 for a 930 put, and then I sold 2 more on the weeklies. So basically, I'm trying to make money short-term and mid-term. So basically, I'm saying, hey, 960, 950. If these expire above 950 or 960 by next Friday, I'll make $1,000 each. And then I sold an extra one today because I was able to. Basically, I'd sell for November 26th. For $2,500, so I'm just trying to get as much money as I can while Tesla's ramping up. So my November strategy, this is actually my October strategy, I just copied it over. But what I can do is I can sell 7 puts at a time. Right now I actually have 8 puts out, so I can sell 8 puts at a time. And what I've been doing when I started, I've been selling a put like about a month out, and then at some point I was able to sell 5 puts at a time. So I was just selling 1 put 5 weeks out every Friday. So every Friday, I would make $3,000 in 5 weeks. So at some point, after 5 weeks is up, every Friday I'm making $3,000, right? Technically, there's only 4 weeks in a month, so every month I'll make about $12,000. What I started doing last week is because I can sell extra puts. Is I can sell. I've been selling weeklies as well. So what this is, you can sell 1 week out. So let's say today I sold these two, where I'm making $1,000 each. So if it finishes above whatever the strike price is, I'll make $1,000. So technically, the weeklies you make more money because 5 weeks out you can only make 3,000, and then 1 week you make 1,000. So if it was 4 weeks, you would make 4,000 versus 3,000 for 5 weeks. But it's just a little bit riskier, so I didn't want to do too many. So my strategy right now was to sell two every week, make about $2,000 a week, and then I will have the 12,000 I make from the ones that are selling 5 weeks out. And then I got an extra one today, so I will sell five, right? So that's why I sold this extra one right here for an extra 2,000. So my goal for November is going to be the 12,000 I'm already making. Here you can see November I have 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. That's 12,000, right? And then the weeklies I'll have 1,000, right? So that's 2,000 every week. So I got 2,000 here. This is October, so I'll get 2,000 here, and then every November I'll get 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. I'll make 20,000, and then I'll get this extra one I sold, which is 2,500. So I'll make about 22,000 or so. I'm guessing, hopefully, if all goes well. Obviously, if the stock tanks, then I'll be in some trouble. But because of the previous things I've said, I think the probability of that is relatively low. So that's my goal, and as I continue to make more money, or as my stocks continue to rise, I'm going to be able to sell more and more puts, and then I'm going to be able to grow it that way as well. So that's my strategy, and it's been working out so far. And then what I did last week or 2 weeks ago, I sold the Neo covered call. Once again, I basically don't own anything else, but I had this Neo stock that I basically wanted to sell, but I was negative on it. So what I did, I sold a covered call, and I have a video on that. You can watch that on what that is. But I just want to give an update. Obviously I want to share the good news and also the bad. So basically, I sold this covered call, and then the stock ran up, and now it's worth. I sold it for $300, and now it's worth negative 1,000. So I lost $800 on it. The good news is because it's a covered call, you can't really lose money. You just don't make money. I could have made $1,000 on this Neo, but instead I made $800 less. So that's what happened. I've actually never got exercise before, so I don't know what happens next. But I'm guessing what's going to happen is they're going to basically just make me buy 100 or make me sell 100 shares of Neo for $36, whereas I could have sold it for 39 at the market price. But yeah, you win some, you lose some, not a big deal. Cool. So that's a good summary of what I've been up to and what I am doing in terms of Tesla and Tesla puts. If you got to the end of the video, please subscribe and like this as well for help so that other people will see this video as well. Thanks.